This is your man's the man about town, Petty Murphy, reporting to you live from the back of the classroom with Akata News Network. What is that? Wait a minute. Stay tuned. Breaking news. Yo, what's cracking? So yeah, first I want to start off by giving a shout out to my brother, Junior, aka Dwight. Good looking on the shirt, my guy. Realize. So, on that thought process, right? Over the last few weeks, we've heard a lot of statistics and things being thrown out, and I kind of want to touch on how statistics can be skewed because numbers are the basis, and mathematics is the basis of all reality of everything around us. But as with everything, there's always a context, and a lot of times when numbers are thrown out, certain factors are left out of those numbers because it's not just the numbers that tell the story. Because you can throw numbers out a certain way, but then when you start factoring in things like per capita, population growth or decrease, or what percentage or subgroup belongs, or the size of a certain population, then all of a sudden stats start to lean and start to tell different stories. But anyways, I watched I posted the clip, which TikTok took down for misinformation, of the Steve Crowder barbershop interview, right? And the one thing that I hear a lot is that they talk about every, what was it, 12 in one tray?
Yeah.
No, how do you say it, though? Brains dumping.
12% at 12. Was it 12% at a higher rate?
Oh no, white men are 12 times more likely to be killed than a black man than vice versa, right? All right, so go to the Googleizer, and we just do a quick Google search, black against white crime, give you the whole AI overview and the breakdown, right? All right, so let's see. Just to start off with the overview, statistical data on homicides in the United States show that most murders are interracial, meaning that the victim and offender are the same race. While most white victims are killed by white offenders, the per capita murder rate for black individuals is significantly higher than for white individuals. So the key statistics on murders. Now, this data is from the FBI and the Bureau of Justice Statistics, which show the following trends comparing homicides involving black and white individuals. Now, it says that most homicides are interracial. Around 80 to 84% of white victims are killed by white offenders, and approximately 88 to 93% of black victims are killed by black offenders. So between 80 to 84% of white people kill white people, and between 88% to 93% of black people kill black people. So that whole black on black crime, right on right crime is right there. And that's because crime is normally acts of proximity. You tend to do things in the area that you live within, right? You're not gonna go 500 miles away to go rob somebody for their wallet when you can go down the block and do it, because it takes resources to get 500 miles away to go steal some shit, right? Poor people don't have those resources. Not saying that all of us are poor, but what I'm saying is that proximity is easier, right? So you argue with the people that you're around the most. This is why a lot of actual murders or crimes of passion or arguments, between either lovers or friends, arguments over money. You don't argue with people that you don't know, that you don't come into contact with day to day. So my point is that whole black on black crime shit is just a talking point, because every group has the same pretty much rate of same race on same race crime, whether it's immigrants or Hispanics, Asians, whatever. The numbers are all pretty much the same. But back to the point. All right. So interracial homicides. When interracial homicides occur, black offenders kill white victims at a higher rate than white offenders kill black victims. In 2018, for example, 16% of white homicide victims were killed by a black offender, whereas 8% of black homicide victims were killed by a white offender. So now that whole 12-1 thing, right? It's actually 1-2, right? Because if you take 16%, 8, that's literally just double the 8%. So basically, it's a 2-1 ratio. So per capita victimization rates, black individuals are disproportionately affected by homicides. In 2023, the homicide victimization rate for black people were 21.3 per 100,000, which is significantly higher than the rate for whites, which is 3.2 of 100,000. Per capita offending rates, black individuals also have a higher per capita offending rate. Studies based on arrest data show that black Americans arrested for homicide at a higher rate than white Americans. Now, there's something I want to touch on. Now, I can't remember this young cat's name, but there was a brother down south in Georgia, high school kid. They found him wrapped up in a mat, right? In a wrestling mat, and he had toilet paper stuffed in his torso. All his organs was removed. Now, word is that one of his teammates, whose father was sheriff in that area and best friends with a Fed, long story, basically my point is this: no one was ever arrested for that crime. And so when they start doing a lot of these things, you know, a lot of shit, especially in sundown towns, and we know this to be a fact, no matter how people want to push or kick the narrative, but in certain areas, especially when people have family members or whatever, or friends in certain places, sometimes people don't get arrested for certain crimes, especially in sundown towns, just like the young brother that they know who did it, but his daddy and his daddy's best friend swept that shit under the rug. We saw a video 2 months back of about 8 cats that beat the shit out this kid, black kid, and they recorded it, put it up on social media, but no one was arrested because, again, and the dude said this shit, well, my uncle is the sheriff, blah, 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 blah. And these are things that make the numbers start to lean or go certain ways and different ways. And that's the thing about statistics, right? It still comes with all type of context and things of that nature. But my point is this, or should I say another point I want to add to this is, I've been really sitting back looking at everything that's been going on in the last few months, right? And, you know, I listen to a lot of different people from different backgrounds so that I can get a different idea of what all the different communities are saying. And what it's starting to feel like to me is that there's just a psyop going on, because everyone's coming at black people because, well, let me rephrase, let me back that up. You have a lot of people of the diaspora and other racial groups coming at black Americans because they don't want to get involved in the illegal immigration fight, right? But then you have black Americans feeling away because of a lot of disrespect that we've been seeing from other racial groups that are part of the diaspora, or other racial groups that are immigrating into the country, when it was us that fought for the Immigration Act because we attached it to the Civil Rights Act. But instead of sitting down and having an actual conversation at this point, everybody's talking at each other from every group. Now, my question is, who benefits from this shit? Who actually benefits from all the chaos and all the discord? Because while we bickering amongst each other, and when it gets down to it, we're bickering about shit that we vote for, right? Because as a black American, right, if you have a problem with all the resources being given away to people who've never paid into the system, then why do you continue to vote the way that you do? And I want to ask this question for people that want to fight for these things, right? Have you actually paid attention to a lot of these protests? Because I go around the internet, like, and I'm looking up, and I follow a lot of these independent journalists that go out there themselves and film what's going on, that have boots on the ground, right? I follow a lot of people that live in these areas and are telling what's going on from their perspective and showing with their own footage what they're seeing. And it's one thing I'm starting to notice about a lot of these immigration rallies. Most of the agitators there are all young to middle-aged white people with Palestinian keffiyehs wrapped around their faces, not showing their faces. And then it seems like a lot of the other groups that are doing the agitating and running after ICE are like first or second generation Mexicans, South Americans, Hispanics, Latinos, that are out there fighting, because, you know, a lot of them have people in their family that are here illegally. But I'm noticing you're not really seeing any black Americans out there like that, or any other people that really have no dog in this fight. But the way they're pushing it is like all of minority America is behind this push for something that really does not make sense. Because, you know, we talk about due process and all these things, but under the Constitution, right, at least the way I was raised, is that all of these benefits of being an American were for American citizens. At what point did we stop taking care of and protecting our own people to protect people that are coming in from outside the country? And then the argument is, oh, well, you know, they work and they generate taxes. Yes, but again, back at the statistics, if you look at the numbers, most of them stay here anywhere from like, what, 4 to 6 years, and then return home. So even if they are working on the books or using someone else's information to work on the books, and the money that they generate in their check does generate taxes, all the money that they're making, though, is still being pulled out of the economy and sent back to their home nation so that they can build up what they have back home. So that money's not getting poured back into the American economy. So what's really happening is our resources are being siphoned out. Then they have programs that, you know, these people get automatic emergency Medicaid when they get here. Go through the paperwork, right? Follow the paper trail and see how they were trying to get them quick pass to citizenship. I live in New York City, right? Eric Adams, Governor Hochul, was saying they want them to have work permits and all these things. Well, see, in these cities, when they do that, these people get temporary Social Security numbers. So now they can apply for Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, and everything else. Section 8, emergency housing, because we're a sanctuary city. Somebody has to pay for that, and that is you and I, the American people. So while we're arguing about shit that don't really matter, we are losing control of everything, and government spending is through the fucking roof. You tell me how can they justify any American citizen being homeless, not having medical care, sleeping outside in the street, especially our military veterans, when New York City, just in the last 4 years alone, spent over $6 billion, according to Eric Adams, 6.5, I think, or $7 billion in 4 years, just in housing, medical care, and feeding illegal migrants. 4 years. 4 years while we had people losing, Americans losing benefits. In Denver, Colorado, they started cutting hours of state workers like firemen and stuff like that were part-time. What they did was they cut their hours so that, you know, they didn't qualify for medical benefits and certain things. But they kept them on payroll and employed so that they couldn't apply for unemployment, so that they could take that money and subsidize the migrant crisis. And these are the things that a lot of people either don't know, don't talk about, or just don't care about. But at one day, that's just going to happen, and it's going to affect you. And at that point, it's going to be too late. So my thing is this. Instead of just listening to the people on the boob tube, on the news, and the talking heads telling you what sounds good to you, or what's going to invoke an emotional response out of you so that they can push you around the board like a chess piece, because the world is a stage. Just think about it. When they go to war, they call every little district that they break it into a theater. The Eastern Theater, the Pacific Theater, the Atlantic Theater. Because the world is a stage, and it's a play, and there's a script to this shit. But anyways, anything anyone tells you, don't just listen to what people tell you. Go find out for yourself. It's as easy as a Google search, and then it's going to give you a query. Boom, 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 boom. And then don't go to the first, second. Go through all the sources that you see. Take 5 to 10 of them. Go through, see what matches, see what correlates, what goes together, and then what contradicts. And then start literally weeding out the bullshit. And then you'll get a consensus of what's actually going on. And instead of dealing with these big corporations that are news entertainment, start going more with the grassroots investigative journalists that work for themselves. Because at this point, any corporate media is pushing propaganda. And when you start going down this paper trail and you start seeing who owns what and who's funding one, all roads lead back to the same place. And then it starts to tell a different story and things start looking real diabolical. But I'm gonna leave that at that. I'm gonna leave this there. But yeah, man, this shit is wild out here. And we need to start paying attention and seeing through the bullshit, because real eyes will realize the real eyes. And we're all being lied to, we're all being used, and they're pushing the propaganda to get all of us to do their dirty work. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Y'all be safe out there. Stay aware. Keep your eyes to the stars and keep that head on a swivel. And do your own due diligence. Stop letting these people tell you how to think, push a narrative of pushing you to feel how they want you to feel. And go find out the truth for yourself. And then sit down and make an educated assessment with the facts. Because at the end of the day, facts is what's going to rule everything. And it's facts over feelings. Sometimes the truth is not going to make you feel good. But at least if you have the truth, you can make a proper educated decision on how to move forward. Y'all be safe out there.